Hello, my honeys. This is Kamara, the Black Dove Oracle, and welcome to your pick a card reading. What happens when you take the trash out? This is going to be a 3-pile reading. The timestamps will be in the description box as well as the comments below. And if you are a returning subscriber and a member, thank you all so much for continuing to support my channel and its growth. I really appreciate you all. If you're brand new here, my name is Kamara. I'm a psychic medium. I channel spirit as well as my ancestors and the divine sibyls who were the original oracles. So welcome and welcome back. This reading, when you take out the trash, it's about how you stand on business. And for many of you, this is going to also include your boundaries. So we're going to hop right into it. And I'm going to bring your attention to Avatar 1, group number 1. So group number 1, let's get into the energy. I'm shuffling the cards right now. That's your opening energy for when you take out the trash. Group number 1, it's very interesting, your avatar. I think you look younger than you are, and you still may be fairly young, but this can go for a variety of ages. So say if you're in your 20s, people think you're still in high school. If you are in your 30s, people think you're still 20, and so on and so forth. But I do think you look young for your age. I think there's a spark in your eyes. I think you just have a lot of energy. You tend to be maybe more petite, so that could also be the case. I think that you surprise people with your instincts. People don't expect, because they think you're young or younger than you look, they don't expect for you to be so aligned with your instincts. We have the animal guardian that came forward, as well as the magic guardian. I think, too, that you taking out the trash is always a surprising event to people. You know that you have to do it often, but when it does happen, it's like people are caught off guard. It's almost as if you have tapped into some kind of power that you have, that you're taking out the trash is very elusive. People don't know that they've been sat out on the curb until they're on the curb. So there is a very strategic way in which you handle detractors, how you handle your enemies. And it's very interesting too, because I think a lot of people view you as really innocent, and innocence can also be construed by certain people as being naive. And you're not naive. I think that you have, because of your smaller stature, you could have been, Spirit is saying, raised in a household full of brothers. If you're in the feminine body or identify as feminine woman, you could have been raised around a lot of masculine energy. The kind of energy where you had to defend yourself. You had to take out some people when you had to take them out. You know what I'm saying? And so there's that kind of like energy where you're used to roughhousing. You're kind of used to, and I'm not saying used to like you brush it off from people that are not your brothers, but I think your brothers, if you are in that kind of household, this is specific, if you were in that kind of household growing up, I think you learned how to defend yourself fairly quickly. And I think you learned how to dodge maybe some very more roughhouse kind of masculine energies, which is funny because I think your reading, group number 1, is more about the work world. I think you may be even in some kind of career that is traditionally masculine. And if you're in the feminine, it's kind of like you're having to deal with growing up with brothers all over again. And this time though, you are kind of like, well, these people are not related to me. These are my colleagues. And so I think you are very skillful as you are preparing the trash to be taken out. They don't see it coming. They just don't see it coming. And in that way, they always feel like you've worked some kind of magic behind the scenes. And you're just like, no, I'm just used to trashy behavior, and so you don't put up with it very often. Let's shuffle the cards and see, Spirit. Let's talk about, what is this animal? What is this trust your instincts about? What is trust your instinct? Yeah, we have Six of Swords in reverse. I think that many times, especially because of the positions that you have, you're very knowledgeable, you're very intelligent, you have good soft skills as well. Some of you might be an engineer, or you might be in that kind of field, like tech field, because there's something about how when you get hired, your bosses are like, finally someone who can talk, express their feelings, can get the job done, and so you get a lot of praise at work. And I think what begins to happen with your detractors, because many of them are envious, but really they can't compete because they don't compare. They just don't have all the whole package that you have. So oftentimes they want to make your life hard at work. They like to joke around. They say jokes, you say it's irritating. They like to see if they can kind of push you out, make you frustrated so you'd leave. And that's that upside down Six of Swords energy. You're just kind of like, you don't bother me and I'm not going to focus on you. And you kind of give that attitude of like, I'm here to work. I'm not here to play around. I'm not here to joke around. And, I think you can be lighthearted when you want to be. But, probably after being in your field for the last, I think some of you have been in your field for a while, like maybe 2 to 5 years. You're kind of seeing the consistency of, the kind of people you work with and the kind of boundaries you have to have. So that Six of Swords, maybe early in your career, it did kind of push you out, but I think you got tough really quick. You got really tough real quick. And you just don't let people be chaotic around you. Even if you have to share or collaborate on work, share projects, you're not that kind of person who's easily riled up. In fact, I think a lot of times before you finally take out the trash, you're in preparation. You know what I mean? You're like, how am I going to get rid of this MF? Because I am so frustrated working with them. And you're just, you're thinking about it yourself. You're not even going to your friends. You're not even telling your partner about what's happening at work. You're just kind of like, I think I'm about ready to get rid of this person. And I think you can do it. You're smarter than them. And you know this. It's not that you're trying to be conceited. It's just that you're smarter than them. Yeah, we have Queen of Swords came out upright. That Queen of Swords doesn't take any BS. The Queen of Swords, when you're in that energy, you're observing suddenly. You're looking at playing chess while they're playing checkers. For real, you are starting to observe what their weaknesses are. You're trying to figure out, okay, how can I get them off of my project and on to another project? And you're not above, Spirit says, we're going to use this word lightly, but in your case, it's all appropriate. You're not above manipulating the situation. to get a trashy person out of your way. And I don't think many of your former work colleagues, and maybe some that are here now, I don't think they think of you as that kind of person. But in the end, when they're out of your hair, when you've gently moved them on, when you've put them on the curb, because your trash bag is really small. You do not spend a lot of time on MFs. So when they are on the curb, they realize, oh, this person is an engineer for something, for some reason, rather. Like they start to really get a sense of your calculating mind. I don't think you would use this kind of tactic often, but when necessary, you do, because you've had to defend yourself in way too many workplaces. And I think you're just at that time and space in your career where you just don't want the bullshit anymore. You just don't want it anymore. And that's why you deal with small bags. Spirit says this is a glad bag compared to a trash bag. Like you get them moving on fairly quickly. We have the Emperor in reverse. Yeah, especially those types. Who they're when the Emperor's in reverse is a little bit of a narcissistic kind of personality type, the kind that has a big ego, the kind that says, I've been doing this work for the last 10 years, or I've led this many projects and I've done this much to bring the money in. And you feel like group number one, you've done your chops on listening to all these upside down emperor types. You really have. And so what you do here is that we have 3 of Cups in reverse. You don't try to make friends at work. You're done with that. You have a good social life outside of work. So that keeps you really on the straight and narrow. And that's what, a lot of detractors don't like about you, because they can't get in there and jab you with personal things. They don't know anything about you. They just don't know anything about you. And so for them, it becomes very frustrating when you use your magic. Clarify the magic guardian. Let's clarify this magic guardian. Yeah, you move so swiftly, they didn't even see the bag coming. 8 of Wands, upright. You move so quickly, almost like somebody would say invisibly, but it's not invisible. I think you're just very swift. I think you're very clear. I think that Queen of Swords energy has done you so right in so many ways. And, I'm going to be honest with you. We have King of Wands upright. You have learned from the best of them. You may have an older brother that's in the same kind of field as you, an older sibling, doesn't have to be gendered. You may have a father or an uncle. I'm really getting kind of a masculine energy that really has shown you the way, has given you all the information that you need to go in and work your way to the top. I really get that you're ambitious, group number one. You are willing to play the long game as long as you're moving quickly up the ranks. And because, again, you look younger than you probably are, you take care of yourself, you just have a real gentle look to you. And I think really at your essence, that's who you are. But when we got to go to war, you got to go to war. You know what I'm saying, group number one? So, this is how you've learned. You've learned from someone very special in your life, someone who's taken you under their wing, like a mentor. If it's not a family member, it's a mentor. Someone who's like, let me tell you how to deal with these MFs so that you can just keep moving ahead. You're that kind of person who will build your network networks of supporters. You don't need supporters in your immediate circle. And you, Spirit says, we have 9 of Cups coming out in reverse. Here's what I'm going to say. When 9 of Cups is in reverse, I mean, ultimately, you do want your fulfillment. But I think when it's in reverse for you in this reading, it means that where you're at right now is not your pinnacle. And there's a lot of people you work with, this is their pinnacle. This is as far as they want to go. This is their forever job. And you're just like, in your mind, you're like, this is not my forever job. This is not where I'm staying forever. And so even that, you don't share your plans with them. It's more like you just have a plan. You have a strategy. And these people are not long-term. They're actually, what do we call? They're non-players. They're non-player characters in your game. And this is something that's become very important in your strategy, because I think you've seen these types boot out women like yourself from the workplace, set people up who weren't paying attention, and you now know how to make sure you're working with, 1, the best people on the team, 2, the people who are not going to get in your way, and you know how to present yourself one way to the boss. I'm just saying this as an example. You know how to present yourself one way to the boss and another way to your colleagues. And your boss never sees it. Your boss is like, who would you like to work with, group number 1, on this project? I'm giving it all to you, but I want you to choose your team. That's kind of what you have in your work situation, or that's what you're aiming for, because Spirit is saying here that you understand the game all too well. And sometimes you may even have a boss in that upside down emperor energy. And you have to learn how to maneuver things so that when you do leave a place, you have a good reference. You leave a place, you're moving up, not backwards, not sidewards, not laterally, as we say. So group number 1, really, this is how you take out the trash. It's so strategic that later people talk about you and they say, it's like, I don't know why Spirit is bringing up that movie. What was it called? It had Kevin Spacey in it. I mean, I know he was totally thrown out of Hollywood for his behavior, but it was such a good movie. He played this guy who would talk about Kaiser Solche, or I forgot the character's name, but he played a whole game. Was it Usual Suspects? That was if you haven't seen that movie, it's kind of like you are like the main character. It's like you're playing all of the people who think they're smarter than you, and you're winning. So go ahead, group number 1. Thank you so much for joining me on this reading. If it resonates with you, can you give it a thumbs up? And if you haven't joined my channel, please consider subscribing. My membership is now open, and Sundays is membership day. So we are working on it. The membership just started a couple of weeks ago. So we have members only videos, as well as we will be doing some lives soon for members only. Members also get to have a little bit more personal readings because, we're still building the membership. So it's your opportunity to get in early and get some kind of more personally focused readings. Okay, my honeys, I will check you later. Take care. Hello, group number 2. Wow. Group number 1, that was amazing. Group number 1, very great. But now we're at group number 2. I'm happy to have you, group number 2. And we're going to get into your reading. I am shuffling the decks, the cards, and we're going to head right on in. Group number 2, immediately looking at your avatar, I got to tell you, a lot of people think you're just too cute. You're just too cute. And you're like, okay. But I think that it's something about your looks that tend to catch the trash off guard. They're very focused that way. But let's see what Spirit has for your opening cards. Yeah, the card that came out is Autumn. Release the old and rest. And here's what I'm going to say. Your cutoff game, group number 2, it's spotless. It's so spotless that I think very similar to group number 1. It's almost like people don't see it coming. But I think this is in relationships, because you are such a mirror for people. They don't understand that when they're admiring and looking at you, eventually they're looking back at themselves, because you reflect back their behavior. You reflect back. We have the mirror guardian. You give them time. There's something about your energy. The way that you take out the trash is that you let people sit in it. You let people sit in their filth. And it's not like you have to deal with this energy often. I think you've learned over the years how to discern very early how people are. You've learned a lot about toxic traits. And I think you're a person who learns from their lessons, especially when it comes to relationships. I mean, ultimately, regardless of your gender, you are in King of Cups energy. And this is an upright card for you, meaning you're very emotionally grounded and you're emotionally mature. You can give people a couple of chances, and this isn't breaking your boundaries. It's more that you have that kind of emotional maturity where you can give people a second chance, maybe a couple of chances, not in a detrimental way, but just to understand, are they nervous? Do they need to heal something? Are they working on healing themselves? Like, you get a little curious. I think that's where your second chances come in. But, as soon as someone, we have the Sun in reverse, as soon as someone is trying to hide something that's very obvious to you, you're kind of like, what is this? And I think, yeah, we have Two of Cups in reverse. You can easily see when people are not authentic. And you can easily begin to, it's kind of like, I'm seeing you work people like a puzzle. Like, do they fit in my life or do they not fit in my life? Are they going to ease and make my life easy? And when I say easy, I don't mean like people, I'm saying easy as in, is my life going to be in harmony with this person? Or is my life going to be turned upside down where I can't focus on my goals? We have Nine of Pentacles in reverse, where I'm constantly feeling like I'm living in chaos, or I'm constantly trying to figure someone out and they're trying to leave me in some kind of insecure feeling. You don't really like for people to manipulate your feelings. I mean, who does? And just like, it's funny because just like group number 1, if you were curious about group number 1, there's some similarities. You, with this 8 of Wands upright, you act swiftly. But this group is more about romantic relationships. You don't play. And I think a lot of people realize very early, some of them to their own detriment, they never even got off of date 1 with you. Some people are just like, wow, how did that even happen? I didn't even get a chance with group number 2. And group number 2, the Magician showed up upside down. Again, you don't like manipulation. You don't like people trying to manipulate you into loving them or caring for them or supporting them. I think that that kind of red flag, it's something that you do not bother giving people a chance. No. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of cards here, Spirit. Let's ask for, okay. Yeah, it's funny. Now you have the Queen of Cups upright. Here's what I'm going to say. I think when you're in that King of Cups energy, that is more of your masculine energy. Right now, you're showing both your masculine and your feminine energy, meaning you're very balanced this way. And so I think sometimes you attract people who want to be taken care of when you're in your masculine energy, when they meet you in your masculine energy, which is sometimes you're in that energy when you're meeting someone. Maybe you're working on something that you really have to drive. There's something in your life that you're having to like push and manifest. And, if you meet somebody while you're in that energy, they're like, oh, this is somebody who'll take care of me. We're not gonna lie, group number 2. It's almost the autumn. It's autumn right now, heading into winter. It's cuffing season, and there's people out there who want to get a winter experience out of you, and you're just like, no, thank you. I'm good on my own. So when you're in this Queen of Cups energy, very receptive, like you just love being nurtured and cared for. And so when you meet someone, when you're in this energy, you meet the people who want to control you. You meet the people who feel like they need to dictate all of their needs towards you. And you're like, wait, what is this? So I think it's very interesting sometimes who you are attracting when you're in these energies. And I think over time, group number 2, you've realized with this King and Queen of Cups that you need to integrate these parts of yourself. And you need to show these parts of yourself both to people that you are interested in, that you want to be in a relationship with. People who are now meeting you for an intimate relationship now see both parts of you. You don't hang out in just one territory. You present both energies to potential partners. And, it's worked because you haven't had to take out the trash in a while, or you will not have to. Some of you are in different timelines, but you're getting ready to meet a King of Pentacles. And a King of Pentacles here is upright, meaning he is ready. He's relaxed. He's, you're going to like this person. They have a dog, by the way, a dog that you're really going to like. It kind of looks like a German Shepherd, or it's like a bigger dog, almost like a husky or something. I don't know. But this dog and this King of Pentacles, you may meet them while you're on a walk or on a hike, or that's kind of weird. You might even meet them. You may meet them somewhere like, what does this look like? Like, is it a library? Or are you going to meet them at a bookstore? You might meet them at some place that has books. Spirit is even saying maybe a cafe. If you have met them, let me know if that was where you met them. But if you haven't met this person yet, they're coming in. And, they're a little bit older, but they have a really, youthful eyes, youthful face, youthful energy. They're happy. You know what I mean? And this is going to be someone that you just... you sense their energy is very balanced, very relaxed. It's going to be a breath of fresh air. If you haven't met this person, it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air. Like they're going to feel like someone that you want to spend time with versus, all of the people that you've had to kind of sift through and and put on the curb constantly. It was like as if you were feeling like you were carrying around a trash bag in your purse, okay? You were just like, wow, you may have even stopped dating for a while. You're like, let me take a break. But when you meet this person, I don't think it's in the usual way that you meet people. It might be just in a public place that you're hanging out with. It may come even after a time where you've been feeling, if you haven't met this person already, I don't think most of you have, it's going to come after a time that you feel really dejected about your romantic life. Like it's gone through some ups and downs for you, and you're just not ready with because that's a 5 of Pentacles showing upright, and then we have 4 of Pentacles right after that, and it's just like you're kind of hanging on to things. I think you might have been in a relationship previously, just a few of you. This might be very specific, but you might have been in a relationship where someone was really trying to have you take care of them. Like you were maybe even helping this person financially. I mean, I understand sometimes you're involved with people and they might lose their job or, unfortunate things happen. But I think what began to happen is that you were realizing this person was just going to be under your care forever. Like they didn't seem motivated, or maybe there was other things happening with them. And unfortunately, you did have to take the trash out. Like they were becoming too much of a load for you to just support. And, there was things in there that just you knew it wasn't your person. Yeah, they could have been in Page of Cups energy. Cute, but just way too immature. Just doesn't have their life together. There's Page of Cups in reverse. And then, the Empress. For some of you, this might be so specific, so don't, you can disregard it if it's not you. There might have been an unplanned pregnancy with this person too. Yeah, that could have just led to a lot of, number one, disappointment. It just wasn't where you wanted your life to go with this person. This person was not going to be an ideal parent to you. That was just not going to be the situation. So, take it where it resonates. But, I think with this King of Pentacles, if you have met this person, it would have been more recently. But, you're going to know this energy, group number 2, because it's going to feel like finally, I can take this trash bag out of my purse. I can relax around this person. Has their own. This is going to be someone who's very self-sufficient. They're not looking for you to take care of them. They're very at ease with their life. Their life is very structured and formulated. And, they're also very generous. I mean, they want to take care of you, group number 2. So, that will be how it is. Now, Spirit said to look at the bottom of the deck here. There's a King of Swords upright, all right? So for some of you, there may be a couple of kings in your life. You may meet them in different ways, and they're very different people. One is a King of Swords, and this King of Swords is a little bit more on the, they're kind of emo, grungy, like, I don't know, grungy. Is grungy the word? They're more of this kind of, how do I want to say, darker artsy type, like a rebel. and the other one is more, how do I want to say, conventional. Not in a boring way, but, King of Pentacles is going to be a little bit more conventional. They dress in khakis and a sweatshirt. I don't know. Does that appeal to you? There's going to be something very appealing about this person's energy, King of Pentacles, that you're going to love, group number 2. But then there's this edgy King of Swords that's also really got their eye on you. And yeah, that might be someone that you meet through a work situation. I'm seeing 7 of Pentacles under that, like a project or a work situation. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's funny how this didn't focus a lot on you taking out the trash, I think, for group number 2 has been your past life. And you're moving into a life now where you are attracting the caliber of people that you really want in your life, group number 2. So that is what I have for you. Go ahead, group number 2. And if you can take a moment, if you resonate with any of this reading, would you consider giving me a thumbs up? It really helps my channel to grow, and I really would appreciate it. I appreciate you just for joining me and taking a listen. I'm going to move to group number 3. Thank you so much, group number 2. Take care. Hello, group number 3. How are you? This is Kamara the Black Dove Oracle, and this is your reading. What happens when you take out the trash? You know what I gotta say, group number 3, this avatar was cracking me up because literally I'm looking at the expression of the avatar, but also like look at the hands. The knuckles are a little red, like you've been in some kind of physical like it took some physical interactions for you to take out the trash. Hopefully nothing too how do you want to say violent, but group number 3, let's get into your opening energy, which I kind of think group number 3, when you take out the trash, it can get physical. It can get very visible. We have the sun upright. I think what happens when you take out the trash, group number 3, is you don't hide it. You're like, no, we're done. I think you may be a fire sign in this. I don't know why I'm thinking Aries. You might be, but also Sagittarius and Leo. They can get down too. I do think if you're not a fire sign, you're kind of in that energy. Some of you might be a Leo, but you may have some water placements too, which it's kind of interesting, that fire water dynamic, because we also have the water guardian here with connect to your emotions. I think that you're the kind of person that, you can erupt. If something is out of order, group number 3, you're going to erupt. And, there's something here. You may have fire placements in some very significant ways in your natal chart, but also water placements. And that can make for what people experience in you, group number 3, as, you've had people accuse you of being erratic with your emotions. But I just think sometimes when you've had enough, you've had enough. And immediately it's like the trash goes out and you have no problem with it. I also think that many people are attracted to you. You have a kind of look that get people who are, whoever you're attracted to, whoever you're dating, whatever gender, you might be dating all kinds of people. There's a strong attraction people have to you. You may be popular in many circles. You may get a lot of attention. And here's what I want to say. You have a look that many, I'm going to say this, many masculines find intimidating but challenging. And here's what I want to say. If the masculine's a little too weak, they're just always going to be looking at you and crushing on you and just never saying anything to you. And then you have this other flip side where you attract really egoic, there's group number 3. Let me go say hello. Let me shoot my shot. You kind of can get a mix of those kind of folks. And Spirit's saying you take the trash out on both kinds. Like, you want a happy medium. You want someone who knows that they want you. Some of you in group number 3 might even be into, and this may be specific, but you might be into poly relationships. It doesn't mean that you don't want to be respected, though. It doesn't mean that you're just open for everyone. I think that you like having non-monogamous kind of relationships, but you still have rules for how people need to treat you. I mean, and I think there's some confusion there sometimes. Maybe you've learned that you can't share that with everyone, especially if people have very conventional views about X and relationships. We have Queen of Wands. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You have Queen of Wands upright. I mean, really, Queen of Wands is probably the most gorgeous of the queens, usually single, usually a warrior type. I mean, this is you, group number 3. Regardless of gender, you've got that magnetism, and it's kind of like, people see you coming. You have herds of people sometimes following you. You may hang out with a couple of really good friends. You all are kind of partners in crime when you're going out on the town or when you're hanging out. You really love these like 2 friends of yours. I think that they keep you grounded. They're there for you when you're feeling frustrated. But you also have an emperor who has been, how do I want to say this? They're checking you out. They're observing you right now. This is someone who might be a little different from you. You're giving me more of the artsy flair. Even with the pink-haired avatar, you're giving me somebody who's kind of like, what was that Marvel TV show where the girl was incredibly strong? What was the name of that? Anyways, you all will tell me in the comments, but you know how she was really strong? Or maybe that was the other guy. What was her power? I think she was strong. Yeah, like she had to really have to learn how to use her strength. It's something like you're giving that vibe. And this emperor who's upright, so this is somebody in a leadership position. It could be someone that you work with. Could be a boss. Could be someone in a very, how do I want to say, leadership position. This is someone who's very strategic, though. And I think they like your mind. There's something about you. You're different. The 2 of you could be very different. You could have different cultures, different races. This person too, like I said, there's a part of them, I think outwardly they may present more conventional, but on the inside they're not. But I think this kind of emperor, you would have to get to know them to know that part of themselves. And so they're observing you, group number 3, as kind of a question mark. Like, can I get to know group number 3 like this? They're trying to figure out, could they show this part of themselves to you? Could they actually get to know you? We have 9 of Cups in reverse, and we have King of Wands in reverse. I'm going to say this emperor has observed you in a relationship with a King of Wands that was reverse. So you came out earlier as Queen of Wands upright, but they may have seen you. For some of you in this group, I mean, take it where it resonates, you all, but some of you in this group are divorced, and you divorced a King of Wands. You both were a very stately couple, by the way. I mean, whoever your ex was, they definitely were fine. I mean, they were, and when you both were together, you got a lot of attention, but it just wasn't emotionally fulfilling for you. I think there was a lot of problematic things that happened with this King of Wands, things that actually Spirit is saying may have become public, things that you didn't want to become public became public, such as fights or infidelity. And it really kind of turned your cups upside down. It went from a relationship that you thought you really, really wanted to be in. You thought you were going to be really happy. You thought this was going to be your person, to a relationship that you, oh my God, you had to take out the trash immediately. You know, at some point you took out that trash and it really hurt you. Like it was, you know, if you're looking at your avatar, that bag is pretty big. It was like a lot of, there was just like a lot of, how do I want to say, baggage that came along with leaving this relationship. It could have, you know, for some of you, it could have gone to court. Dang. But this Emperor has been peripherally around that. I don't know their relationship to you really, but they were able to watch this, observe some of this happen. So I think they're kind of wondering how you are in relationships. I think that King of Wands is obviously was a majority of the problem, but you know, it takes two. And I think this Emperor is being cautious. They're looking at you. They are interested in you, but they wonder about your sense of justice. We have the justice upright. Group number 3. They wonder how truly, because they might have seen you take out some trash a couple of times. You know what I mean? And they might wonder. Group number 3. How do you balance the scales? Like, how do you really solve your problems? And I think what they're going to learn is that, you know, you take a lot of things in stride. And I don't think you're going to hide your mistakes. You're not going to hide the past. I think you've done a lot of work. Some of you in this group, you took on some kind of spiritual practice or something like, you know, yoga is a spiritual practice as well if you're traditionally practicing it. So you may have taken on yoga or some kind of meditation. You really did a lot of healing work. And you really, with this 2 of Wands in reverse, I think you really had to also just stay put for a while. If you're a Sagittarius, you could be a Sagittarius in this group as well, because I think I mentioned that earlier, the fire signs. You might, you know, when things get a little rough for you, you like to kind of pick up and leave. You know, I mean, you don't mind moving to a new place, new apartment, new city, new state, country. And I think after this past relationship with this upside down King of Wands, I think you decided to stay put. You just needed some real grounding. You needed to focus on yourself and your healing. You may have even had to get some of your finances together. I don't see that prominently, but it might have been a reason why you were staying put. This Emperor is in your world, even if it's peripherally. This is someone that they know you. They may know your family. They may not know you personally. I mean, they know you enough to say hello. They know you enough to be at the same kind of gatherings that your family or community may hold. So, you know, I think right now they're just wondering, Queen of Swords in reverse, they're wondering just how stable. I hate to mention it that way, group number 3, but they are wondering, are you stable in relationships? Like, you know, because they just saw that chaotic mess you were in, and they were wondering if how much of that was you and how much of that was your former partner. So I'm just being honest there. That's kind of what's on their mind. But in terms of taking out the trash, I think that you've had to be strong. The Strength card is showing up in reverse. You've had to regain your confidence because, you know, for some people, a public breakup could be so, how do I want to say, you know, it can just really bring down your confidence. It can make you feel so in the spotlight. And I think what you did was that you just had to pick up and heal and do you. But I do feel like let's ask Spirit, like, what will you think of this Emperor? I think this is going to be someone you're going to marry. Dang, Four of Wands came out. This is a partner for you. I think it's going to be someone who's strong enough, because the Emperor is all four of the kings together. This is someone who I think, you're just going to celebrate being with. If it's too far ahead to think about marrying again, you may meet this person, or you all may finally get together at a wedding type of celebration. That's a possibility as well. But I do think this is your person. Let me ask Spirit one more card. Is this their person? Group number 3. Because that Four of Wands is upright. Yeah, Ace of Swords. Spirit is saying, yeah, that's the truth. It will be a long-term relationship. It may be someone that you eventually work on something with. Could be a project, something creative you might work with this person on. Or you may be working with someone they know. You may know someone they know. That could also be a possibility. But group number 3, this is how you take out the trash. I think, again, kind of similar to group number 2. The trash taking has already kind of been this past action, and you're ready for new experiences. So those are coming for you. But thank you so much, group number 3, for hanging out with me and listening to this reading. If it resonated with you, can you give me a thumbs up? And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. I have a new membership that just started a couple of weeks ago. And so the Black Doves are over there. We have private readings. We're getting ready to do some really cool things. Sunday is Members Day. So, I hope you will think about joining us. All right, my honeys, thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next reading. Take care.